Hey guys, what's up? It's Alo Knight here, coming at you with Game 3 of the Woodlands Quad that I played a long time ago back in 2018. Before we get started, if you haven't checked out the first game from this tournament analysis of mine, please go check it out. It's going to be under the playlist tournament analysis or game analysis. I'm not too sure what I named it under, but that's where I'm going to put all my game analysis from now on. That way, if you just want to watch a couple of those, they'll all be there for you all. Alright, so this is Game 3. By this time, I wish I could show you guys game 2 because that would be great. Whenever I find it, I will definitely put it on the channel. No idea when that will be. But yeah, game 2 was really hard. So by the time game 3 was, by the time I played game 3, I was a little exhausted, to be honest with you. And at this point, I was more than sure that I was ready for the tournament that I played in the next week, which was the Houston Summer Chess Festival that I will be going over with on this channel. I have all the games in my book. And okay, without further ado, let's get into this game. So I was white against a player rated about 1,000, and we went into the Rey Lopez. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop B5, Pawn to A6, and Bishop A4. And now here, this is when the black player can go into a multitude of different options, different variations. They have B5, Bishop E7, Bishop C5. They have Knight to F6. And these are the main 4 that I've seen so far. There are other ones. These are the 4 main ones that are played, all with their different ideas. And at the time, my opponent played Bishop to B5. I mean, Pawn to B5 with the idea of just getting as much space as fast as possible on the queen side. And I didn't mind my bishop getting kicked because the bishop actually wants to be either on the A2 GE diagonal or the B1 H7 diagonal at some point to be a part of some kind of kingside attack. Okay. Bishop C5, castles, pawn to D6, and now upon the D6, my opponent wants to play bishop to G5 right away to pin down this knight, and that is an idea you'll come across in the Rey Lopez very often because you need this knight to execute your main pawn break, your main idea in the Rey Lopez, which is pawn C3, pawn D4. Along with ideas such as knight to D2, rook F1, rook E1, knight F1, and then depending on how the position turns out, you either want to bring your knight to E3 or G3. Those are some of the main maneuvers and ideas in the Rey Lopez. Some there's a whole bunch of them. Some of a very few amounts. There's quite a few, I mean. So after, oh wait, white's move. I play C3 with the idea D4 in mind. Bishop to G4 has been played. And now, usually, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. And now, after bishop to G4, if your knight gets pinned early on in the Rey Lopez, you just want to play pawn to D3. B4, not sure where that move came from. Playing a move like knight to F6 with the idea of casting later on is makes a lot more sense to me. Okay. E4, H3, asking the bishop what is it going to do. It goes to E6, and like I said before, this bishop wants to stay on this diagonal, or wants to be here. It's going to be part of a very nice kingside attack at some point. But I just wanted to trade down, make the game as simple as possible so I can try to win in the end game. Not always the best idea, but that's just what I was going for at the time. I was rusty. D4, DXC4, and now instead of taking the D pawn, I decided to take the B pawn instead. With two ideas in mind. If the capture with the bishop, after I capture with the knight, I have a nice knight in the center. It has a lot of influence. And the knight cannot be captured because if my knight is captured, queen takes d4 is a double attack on the bishop on b4 and the pawn on g7. And if knight captures, which is what happens in the game, I can bait black into a tactic. So my knight's also in the knight square here. It's hitting c6, it's hitting e6, and it's just really strong. And then black was tempted into capturing the knight, and they saw that after queen d2, they actually have a fork on c2 against the queen and the rook, but it doesn't work because now I get to play queen to a4, and I pick up the knight. Okay, so I'm up a piece. Now I'm comfortable, but you should never get comfortable in a chess game. That's how you make mistakes. Knight to f6, rook to d7, and now I decided that I wanted my main point of attack to be on the d file, more specifically the d6 square, because I saw that the queen was directly behind the pawn, and that I saw that I can also put a lot of pressure on it with moves as e5 and knight to c3 in view of knight to e4. That was my idea. Castles, knight c3, rook f7. I'm not sure why rook f7 was played. e5. Now I'm starting to put pressure on the pawn, and it cannot capture because of the rook right here. Knight to e8, knight e4, queen e7, and now I have the opportunity to play queen c6, adding even more pressure. And then my opponent played rook to a7. They can also play rook to d8, then run into g5, and it looks like it wins a piece or the exchange, but it doesn't, because now black could just play queen to d7, and then here I actually, you know what, I can just pick up the pawn. I pick up the pawn, and then now the rook's attacked. They still can't take the e pawn because of the rook on the d file, and they probably could push, but now that runs into a knight to c5, and now I'm attacking two pieces at once, and it's gonna get really uncomfortable for black at from that point on. So black just decided to be simple, just play rook to a7, supports this pawn, and it keeps the rook out of trouble. And now I decided to start exchanging. Oh no, I didn't. I played bishop to g5. These games are so long ago, I forgot what I played. Queen to f8. Okay, now I started exchanging. And I was really eager to exchange because I was up in material, and I knew that was going to be enough to convert into a winning endgame. My opponent definitely should have captured here, just to let me be a piece up and make me work for it. This is a slight advantage. It's not exactly winning yet because I'm only up a piece and a pawn. Yeah, I have 5 pawns. They only have 4. It's not winning material just yet. So, but my opponent played rook takes f2 instead, and now I'm gonna ask you all at home to pause your videos and to find the winning move. Okay, if you found this move, congratulations. You are very good at recognizing threats. Queen e6, and that's not all. If you find queen e6, that's only half of the idea. King to 8. You have to calculate all of the variations that followed it. So you'd have to see that after rook to f7, we pin the queen behind it, and that goes also for the a rook. We get in rook d8, and we win. We win the queen. And if queen blocks, it's actually checkmate on the spot. So you had to have seen those 3 variations, and the 4th one, which is what was played in the game, of king h8, the most important one, and then rook to d8. Winning the queen, and it was at this moment on move 27 that my opponent resigned. And with that game out of the way, I was more than confident in my abilities going into the Houston Summer Chess Festival, and I actually played a good tournament. But I will definitely go over those games at a later date. By later date, I probably mean later on today or tomorrow. Or I just want to start putting my games out. Definitely want to build up this muscle of just analyzing games and putting them out there. That's a really critical part of being a good chess player, being able to analyze your games. Yeah, but with all out of the way, thank you so much for watching my analysis video. If you haven't seen the first one, please go check it out. It's underneath the tournament analysis playlist. Please please subscribe if you like what you saw. Yeah, thank you for watching. Be safe and have a good one.